This War of Mine debuted last year to an excellent critical reception. This game is about how regular people see war, what they challenge to survive it, about their emotions, their struggle to live through another day, and the heavy burden they have to carry to endure the conflict, about tough choices you have to make and the consequences that come after them. No one has done this before, so no one in our studio knew how people would react to it.
From today's perspective, everyone sees that people were expecting such game. But did anyone knew that 3 years ago, when we started working on it? I don't think so. After the announcement we got a lot of positive feedback, but there were also people questioning our way, telling us that the games shouldn't talk about such matters because they're all about fun. That was the moment when we asked ourselves why people still think that games cannot tackle serious topics, why games cannot command grim reality, and we decided we're going to do it, no matter what. Now it's time to bring this experience to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
But it won't be just a port or remaster like you see a majority of games being brought to the platforms. In fact, we are expanding the experience, and to the world of civilians trying to survive war, we are bringing kids. Once again, we wanted to push the boundaries even further, and this is why we created This War of Mine, The Little Ones. For some reasons, you don't have kids in games, especially in games about war. But our game is different from them. It's about regular people and their emotions. We believe it wouldn't be complete without kids. So we did that, and I can tell you it was really hard time for the whole team. Many of us are parents, and we couldn't stop ourselves from thinking that such things may happen to our children.
In This War of Mine, The Little Ones, you will play as adults and children facing the hardships of wartime survival. Adults will have to get food, bandages, medications. They will have to fight to defend themselves. They will have to scavenge and look for necessities. And now, do you have kids? Because I do, and I know that kids, despite of everything, they need to laugh. In the game, like in reality, kid needs protection, they need to play toys, run and jump all around, no matter the surrounding war zone. They need someone to talk to because they need to feel safe. You'll need to think like a kid to make the kids survive the war.
Adding kids to the game will be the biggest difference we will experience in the Little Ones. And you may ask yourself why we did that. The thing is, like, from the very beginning, when we were creating This War of Mine, we knew that we wanted to show the real picture of war. No fancy stuff, no decorations, but just the hell like it is. And right now, with the Little Ones, we are adding the one final missing puzzle to the board. And that's what the game is all about.
All characters in This War of Mine are based on real people, are based on ourselves, our friends, our family members, and it couldn't be any different with kids. But as you can imagine, it wasn't easy to find a parent who wants to see his child in a story about war, about dying in war. So eventually I agreed to have my kid in the game because I'm crazy, I'm passionate about this game, and I want to make it as real as possible.
We did a mock-up of kids for the first time, and we were sure that it's going to be easy. The biggest challenge was to create believable moves. As you know, kids are unfocused and they prefer to have good fun, and it's not easy to direct kids on a set, especially when you need to create proper emotion of children.
So why we did that? All of the things we've seen here, the things that we wanted to show the real picture of war. And in the Little Ones, kids are part of that picture. So you'll have to take care of that kid, you'll have to play with him. The kid, the things you'll be seeing in the game are the things that actually kids are doing in the real life. They're like drawing on the chalkboard and playing, clapping hands, maybe moaning and doing, roaming around the house, even if the bombs are falling down out of the window. Those are the things that kids do, even in war. And you'll be a part of that in This War of Mine, The Little Ones, because for you as a parent, keeping that kid alive and keeping it safe and keeping it happy will be the most important challenge we'll have to face in war and in our game. Have you ever seen the cover of This War of Mine, The Little Ones? or the art that we are using to promote the game? I bet you had. But the question is, did you know that the girl that you see there actually exists? That's her story. Meet Ida, a 6-year-old daughter of Olaf, one of our graphic artists. As you can see, she's a lively one, but it's good. That's how the kids should be. Joyful, careless, and safe. Opposite to those you'll see in The Little Ones. She's the girl you see on the cover. So how it was done? First of all, Olaf had to create a number of sketches with various ideas for the art. Different poses, clothes, face expressions, surroundings, and much more. It takes a while, but it's really important to have a choice when you want to deliver a top-notch artwork. When the guys finally decided which one was the best, it was time to put the pens aside and start preparations for sculpting. So the thing about sculpting is that you don't start it with sculpting. Before that, you have to prepare yourself and gather as much references as possible. In this case, Olaf took pictures of his daughter dressed in winter clothes, standing in the desired pose. He paid much attention into details, like hands and face. This really helps in making the model as realistic as possible. When you're done with that, it's time for actual sculpting. You start with a giant block of something. No matter if you want to create a dragon, a soldier, or a small kid, that's the spot where everything begins. From here, it's all about the imagination and skill of the graphic artist. Luckily for us, Olaf is really good at this. After several dozen of hours filled with hard work, he got a detailed 3D model of his own daughter. When you have the model, it's time to put it in a proper pose. Body language is a powerful tool, and you would be astonished how much information can be delivered just by the way the character stands. Anger, fear, sadness, depression, all of them can be actually shown without using words, so we had to be keen on that. As you can see, at this stage we are still quite far from the final result, so it's time for texturing. Basically, you could compare it to painting, but in a digital way. By adding textures, you are turning grayish models into scene full of details and different colors. Now it looks much more like the cover, doesn't it? We're almost done with work, but there is still one thing ahead. Rendering is the last stage of the production. Now it's time to decide about the rest of the elements that will have an impact on the art. Lights, shadows, noises, and more. When it's done and you're happy with the results, you can click render button and wait 45 hours, because that's how long it took us to process the final image. And that's the end of it. Next time you'll see the cover, you will know the story behind it. What's more, soon you'll be able to play as Ida, as she's one of the new characters we'll be introducing in This War of Mine, The Little Ones. Last but not least, I would like to say thank you for watching our Dev Diaries. We hope you like them. Take care. Creating believable characters has been actually one of the biggest challenges the gaming industry has to face since the very beginning of it. Because, I'm not talking here about the visual aspect, about the polygons, textures, and the thing you see in the game, but I'm talking about things that are happening here in the head. Because recreating the human-like behavior, that's something that's really tough. And actually, with This War of Mine, The Little Ones, we are bringing this to a brand new level.
In the original game, we had only 12 playable characters. With The Little Ones, we are almost doubling this number by adding 9 new civilians, all with different skills and stories. Among them, there are 6 kids, which now can be a part of a group. And just like in real life, their behavior, their responses of the happening events are totally different. All of that thanks to our brand new child AI system.
For the kids' behavior, we have created a brand new AI system. The new behavior tree is almost doubled in comparison to the original game. To give you some numbers, just the kit itself will have over 3,500 elements that may influence their condition and behavior. There are over 10 million characters in the code responsible for AI, which I can tell you is a lot. Will you stop for a moment and try to cheer them? Or just tell them, it's a life kid, deal with it. All the things you will do and things that will happen in the game will change the way they see war. Will you preserve their innocence, or they will be a part of the horror? It all depends on you.
In This War of Mine, children are very fragile. They can't go scavenging on their own, for example, because they're simply too small. But on the other hand, you might be teaching them many useful tasks. For example, you might teach them how to collect water, take care of the ill or the wounded. These elements become very useful whenever you're fighting for survival.
The kids can arrive in shelter in 2 ways. First of all, they can come along with a relative, like grandfather, grandmother, uncle, whatever, And in the second option, they arrive on their own. What happens then? Well, we've created a system that is responsible for actually reflecting the relationship between the kid and the adult. So each time the kid wants to play or talk or just interact with that person, if you decide that person should dedicate his or her time to do that, they create a special bond and emotional attachment between the kid and the adult. And in the end, after a few days of such things, they become the closest relatives in the shelter.
Being a parent means complex relationship between you and your child, and sometimes this is sadness, on the contrary, sometimes this is happiness, but everything is all around child's innocence. And in The Little Ones, you try to protect your child when everything around is falling apart.